Hi, I'm Dr. Shyla Mergain. I'm a health and sports psychologist at the University of Wisconsin, and thank you for joining us for this broadcast today. I'll be spending some time talking with you about goal setting for heart health. This is part of the Go Red Girlfriends Challenge, and we're going to be talking about some lifestyle changes that you can make to become more heart healthy. It's an area that I'm very passionate about. One of my specializations is in helping people make healthy lifestyle changes. We often set goals around getting healthy, losing weight, decreasing stress, improving our nutrition. But as we know, we often need additional tools to go from the planning stage into action stage and actually making lifestyle changes that stick. So we'll be talking about some of the fundamentals of goal setting for heart health today, and there's so much that we can learn from goal setting as a tool to really create a plan for getting healthy. And this is an introduction, and if you find yourself needing further assistance, it could be helpful for you to see somebody like myself or another health psychologist or specialist in the field in order to get additional information as you go along. So goal setting is incredibly important. We know that the diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and many people start off, for example, in the New Year's resolution with saying, I'm going to get more in shape, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to eat better. And we find within about a month, many people fall off the bandwagon and go back to previous patterns. Why is that the case? Well, it can be challenging to make lifestyle changes to address our health. And it can be hard to keep the momentum going to create change. We tend to be creatures of habit. We do things how we've always done them, even if they don't work. So that's really where goal setting comes in. When we're embarking on a new plan, such as getting healthy, we need a roadmap of where we're going. And goal setting can really serve as a blueprint of the steps that we need to take in order to become successful with where we want to go. So when we think about goal setting, and you can even think for yourself, why are you embarking on this program? Why is it important to you? One of the things I like to encourage people to do is to find their inner motivator. We all have it. It's that part of us that is excited about making changes. It's the part of us that where we think about what we value, our hopes for, our dreams of how we want our life to go down the road. So just take a moment and think about 5 years from now. What would you like your life to be like? If you got healthy now, what would that allow you to do? What kinds of activities would you be more likely to engage in? How do you want your health to go 5 years from now, 10 years from now? How would getting healthy help you have the type of relationships you want? How would it help you do those things that you'd want to do with those people that you love? And how would you want to take care of your body? So asking some of those questions can help you think about why this is important to you. I always say that it's courageous to embark on a health plan. It's kind of going against the larger culture that says, don't take care of yourself, take care of everyone else. So in a sense, by listening to this program today, you're really making yourself a priority. So give yourself some time today, right now, and even in the next couple days to reflect on, why is this important to you? Why making these changes? How does that lead you to live the kind of life that you want? Once you get clear on that, sometimes I encourage people to write down kind of a mission statement or some of those reasons. They may even create a list of values that they have that they want to live in alignment with. Or sometimes people even post some pictures of people doing the things that they want to do down the road, kind of like a collage of sorts. Or even just doing some journaling or talking to loved ones, friends about why you're making this commitment. That can be important to have something tangible out there that you can return to time and time again as you're embarking on this program. Okay, so the next thing we would need to talk about is just addressing your beliefs. We often get in our own way. One of the things that I see coming up for people is that they say, it has to be perfect. Or my life, I'm going to start my exercise plan next month when I get past the holidays, or when my child leaves home, or when things calm down. And we want to really address those kinds of barriers. That one, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can start where you are, And even small things over time can lead to really powerful changes. So just address any expectations or beliefs that may be stopping you from starting or continuing to start. And we all have them, so we really want our mind to work with us versus against us. Okay, so as we start to address those belief systems and thoughts, we want to have thoughts on board that are encouragers, kind of like we have our own inner coach inside of us that says, okay, start where we're at. What's one small thing we can do today? Or good job, you did this today. How about what can you do tomorrow? One of my favorite ones is that we can start our day over anytime. Even if we kind of mess up, we can start again. And I heard recently that somebody said, well, it's a new day somewhere in the world, so we can start our day over like we're in the time zone over in Asia. So once we get those encouraging thoughts on board, we have that inner motivator, now we want to shift and really focus on goal setting as a tool. I really like using the S.M.A.R.T goal setting formula. It's been used a lot with health behavior change in healthcare systems. And it's a really powerful tool that helps people set goals that work. So the S.M.A.R.T goal setting formula, it's an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, reachable, and timely. And we're going to talk through all those things. So if you think about where do you want to go in terms of your heart health, what kinds of changes do you need to make? What's no longer working in your life? What kind of exercise plan do you need? What kind of nutritional plan do you need? And even maybe much larger in terms of how am I managing stress in my life? How am I making my health a priority? How am I doing with time management? All those could be areas in which you would set some goals in, because as we embark on a healthy lifestyle changes plan, we also need to make changes in terms of just how we're living our day-to-day life. So the first thing we want to do is we want to start off with setting 1 to 2 small goals. I think the biggest obstacle that I see for people is they want to change everything right now, and they take on too much and then get discouraged because they feel overwhelmed, and then they give up completely. So I usually encourage people to start small and be really, really specific. People often set vague goals, like I want to get in shape, I want to improve my life, I want to get happier, I want to feel better. Those are really vague goals because they don't really give us a sense of that path we need to take or those steps we need to take to achieve that. So if you're setting the vague goal, I want to get in shape, well, great, but really how are you going to do that? So really being specific, pick one area. Let's say you pick exercises where you want to start. If we're specific, it gives us a much greater chance of the goal being accomplished. So if somebody wanted to work on exercise, a specific goal may be, I'm going to start a walking program 3 times a week for 30 minutes, and I'm going to do 2 hills during those 30 minutes as I walk around my neighborhood and up that hill on one of the side streets. Really specific. We know what we need to do, and much better than the vague goal of, oh, I'm just going to get in shape. So what do I want to accomplish? One of the questions I often have people ask me is, well, where do I start? And it goes back to what is my goal, overall outcome, what do I want to accomplish? And then I say it doesn't really matter where you start, you just need to start somewhere and get some momentum going. And asking, what are the reasons, purpose, or benefit to making this change? That might help you also hone in on that specific area. So maybe say, I've already made some changes with my nutrition. I feel pretty good about that, but exercise, I'm really not doing that at all. That might be a good place to start then, where you feel like you've been struggling with making those changes. So starting small, being specific. The second area, M, is for measurable. So we want to establish concrete criteria for measuring each goal. And we want to be able to, at the end of setting the goal, we want to be able to say, okay, how much do I need to do this? How long do I need to accomplish this? How many times? And the measurable goal really allows us to say, at the end of the time period for which we've allotted this goal to work on, did we accomplish this goal, yes or no? We want to be able to clearly say, yeah, I did it, or no, I didn't. So, for example, if we're working on that exercise goal, we might talk about how many, if we're working on weightlifting, how many pounds we might lift on what equipment at the gym for how many repetitions, how length of time that we're exercising on the elliptical machine, how many stretches we're doing, and how frequently during the week. That's going to give us a much clearer roadmap of what we need to do during the week versus, oh, I'm just going to get in shape and work out. And it also allows us at the end of that time period to say, yeah, I did good, or, oh, I realized that I only accomplished half of the goal, not the other half, so it can allow us to make some modifications. Okay, the goal should be attainable. One of the largest barriers I see people make is that they set very unrealistic goals. They may be not exercising and say, well, I'm gonna train for a 24-mile road race in 3 months if they're not even walking currently. And then they don't accomplish that, feel frustrated, defeated, and they give up completely. So that's why I always encourage people to start small. You may exceed that goal and do twice as much, great, you can feel extra good about that. But we want to set a goal that you feel confident that you can achieve, so you start to create some positive momentum going forward. And if we start small, then we can use some of that momentum to tackle larger goals going forward. One of the ways I encourage people to work on attainability is to use the 90% confidence rule. The 90% confidence rule goes like this. When you're setting the goal, ask yourself, am I 90% confident that I can achieve this goal? And when I have people ask that question, majority of people actually say, actually, no, I'm more like 70 or 80%, or sometimes people say, oh, I'm 20% confident. And what that means is the goal is too big. Make it smaller. So you want to be almost positive that you can achieve it. And there's nothing wrong with starting really tiny, because then at the end of the week when you say, yeah, I achieved it, or I surpassed it, you feel good and you feel like motivated to set another goal that you can work on the next week. We want to think in terms of wins with our SMART goal setting plan, that the more wins we can have, the better we're going to feel about our progress, the more likely we're going to continue working with it. If we start to feel like, well, I didn't do that, and I didn't do that, and I didn't do that, oh, I'm never going to get it done, I'm never can get it right, then that leads to just stagnation and going back to the old patterns. So making goals that are attainable help us feel a greater sense of well-being and confidence and ability to continue on with the program. Okay, the goal also should feel relevant to you. Maybe many of you have had a lot of unwanted advice about your health, about your heart health. Maybe you've had physicians or loved ones or friends say, well, you should do this, or you have to do this, or and that can feel overwhelming. So with the goal setting system, it's so important that you set a goal that's important to you, that you feel excited about, that it's something you choose to do versus somebody telling you to do it. Because you're just going to be much more likely to follow through with the steps that it takes to get there. So reflecting again on that inner motivator that we talked about at the beginning, why is this goal important to you? How does it lead you to where you want your life to be headed, where you want to be 5 years from now, the lifestyle you want to keep having or want to have down the road. And a goal really should be something that you feel both willing and able to work towards, so that you feel excited about it, but you also have within yourself the skill set or the tools to work towards. So I think this comes up a lot around nutrition. We have a lot of information in our culture about what to eat, what not to eat. Once again, I encourage people to start small, and with nutrition, set some small goals. And maybe you've heard, oh, well, don't eat that food, or don't eat that food. I usually encourage people with nutrition to think about what foods do you want to add into your diet. And that might be a good place to start versus starting initially with what foods do I want to take away. Because maybe you enjoy your nightly or Sunday night dessert and you don't feel ready to take that away, even though your doctor says, oh, maybe you shouldn't eat that food on Sunday night, or your spouse says that. That might be something you don't feel very excited about doing. That's okay. We'll start where you feel excited. Maybe you want to work on adding more fruits and vegetables and feel interested in learning some new recipes to increase fruit and vegetable consumption. That might be feeling really relevant to you. Then start there and build from that. So, setting goals, kind of a takeaway here is set goals that feel important to you, that you have a high value in achieving them, and they're really related to those priorities in your life. It can be fun as a family to set family goals as we go through the goal setting system. Maybe as a family you're working on one or two small goals in terms of the meals that you're making, or maybe exercising as a family together one time a week, or even doing something during the week to help decrease stress. Okay. And then T for the SMART goal setting system stands for time limited. And I encourage people to follow the 2-week rule for goal setting. And as you do this, you'll be setting goals for 1 to 2 weeks at a time. A mistake people make is to set a huge goal, like I want to participate in this running race 6 months from now, but they don't set weekly goals of how they're going to get there. They just know, I have to train to get to this large goal way down the road. Another challenge I see people fall into is that they set weight loss as their primary goal. Oh, I want to lose 50 pounds in 6 months or a year. And weight loss, that can be challenging from a goal-setting perspective. Usually encourage people to set behaviors as their goal, not necessarily weight loss, because we don't have direct control week to week on how much we lose, but we do have direct control over how much we're exercising, what we're eating, and a little bit less in terms of how many pounds are we going to lose in a week. When people set weight loss as their primary goal, they often find that they're discouraged because there'll be a week where they don't lose anything, or maybe a week where they gain a pound, and then people start to have that happen and then they completely give up. So really try to keep the focus on the behaviors, the exercise, nutrition, stress management, other lifestyle changes that you're making, and keep it 1 to 2 weeks at a time. And so you can ask yourself, okay, how often do I need to do this goal in the next week to 2, and by when do I need to accomplish it? And it can be helpful to have some accountabilities. So you might have in your day planner a check-in point. You may talk with a friend. You may even have a weekly meeting with somebody in your family just to check in about how things are going. That can be really powerful because it allows us then to reflect on, did I achieve the goal or not? If I did, great. How did I get there? What goal do I need to set next? And you might even set a little larger goal once you get some momentum going. Or as you check in, did I achieve that? No. Well, what happened? What barriers got in the way? Was it my thinking? Did I have unrealistic expectations? Did I not make my health a priority this week? Or was the goal just unrealistic and I need to make a smaller goal going forward? So it allows us to make that modification as we go forward. Okay, and then the fun part of goal setting is to add a reward. If you look at young kids and trying to make young children make changes, they often respond very well with the reward, like using a sticker chart or saying, if you clean your room for a week, I'll take you out to the movies. As adults, we're kind of similar in making changes, so it can be really fun to think about, okay, as I'm starting this off, what are some things that would feel like an incentive to me when I achieve this goal? What could I do a month from now when I, for 4 weeks straight, have been exercising? You might buy yourself something, or maybe you just not spend money and do something with a loved one or see a friend you haven't seen for a while. Anything that feels like a little bit of a treat. The biggest thing is just to take a little bit of time to acknowledge yourself for achieving the goal. So even just a pat on the back or a good job gives yourself that incentive to keep going. Don't just brush past it and keep going with your week. Really take a moment to say, yeah, nice work. Okay, what can I do next? That kind of reinforcement helps keep that momentum going during the long haul. So what I'd like you to do is to think about 1 to 2 goals that you would like to set in the next week or two. And what feels important to you to start to work on. And then have a time a week to 2 weeks from now where you check in with yourself. Might plan that reward of what you might do. And then when you've accomplished those goals, you can start the process again with the next goal that you want to set. So I encourage you to take a moment and write down the goal. Research shows that if we write down the goal, we're actually much more likely to follow through with it. So use that powerful tool of just making some notes to yourself of what you're going to do. I encourage you to post this goal in a visible place. Sometimes people post it on their refrigerator, it could be in your day plan, or even on the bathroom mirror. That's just a reminder each day, okay, what's one small thing I can do towards that goal today? And then it can be fun to cross off the goal. And the goal you set might even have a series of steps like that. I'm going to exercise 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with 20 minutes on the treadmill and lifting weights for 5 minutes and stretching for 5 minutes. So you might have those steps listed out, and then you could imagine you crossing them off as you do it each day of the week that you want to exercise. So that's kind of an introduction to goal setting for heart health, and I encourage you to have fun with it. And there may be some barriers that come up along the way. That's normal. We want to normalize that. And if anything does come up, you're welcome to post a question on the blog for me, and I'll be coming back and talking again in a couple weeks on some skills to stay on track, to keep motivated with goal setting, because as I say, these kinds of lifestyle changes, we're not just doing them for a season, for 3 months or 5 months. These are really new habits that we're going to be developing for life. So we know during the long haul, there are always challenges and obstacles that come up, but the biggest thing right now for you to focus on is how do I create a program for myself that's going to work for the long haul. And knowing if obstacles comes up, if they come up, then we're going to anticipate then, and how can we get back on track. So right now, really focus on creating that good program for yourself with the goal-setting tool. And if obstacles do come up, then feel free to post a question on our blog. I'm happy to answer them, get back to you, and then you can tune in. And I think it's about 2 weeks where I'll be coming back talking about what will help you stay on track for the long haul. Thank you so much for your time. Give yourself some credit for sitting through this presentation today and making your heart health a priority. You're definitely worth it.